Well, y'all, I have finally made it big. Thanks to you guys watching my videos and my shorts, companies have finally started contacting me about reviewing things. And in between emails about underwear and lights and pet food and other dubious products, every now and then I get an email regarding art supplies, particularly something I might actually be interested in. And today we are going to be talking about something I have been eyeballing for a while. Funto contacted me and asked if I would be interested in checking out one of their portable watercolor kits. I scoped them out, and it might look familiar to you because I believe we've talked about it a little bit over on the Discord server. And I said, yeah, sure, I would love to. I've been meaning to check this palette out. So today, hopefully, we're going to be taking a look at a new, very portable watercolor palette that you guys may have seen around. Now, I like to go into these real early on, disclosing the deal that we made. They contacted me, they told me to pick in exchange for a video on YouTube and a short form video. There was no other compensation. They did not dictate what I was going to be doing with it or what kind of video that I'm going to be doing with it. And I did not request any further compensation. So I received, hopefully inside this package, one watercolor palette set, and there has been no further compensation. So this was provided care of by the company. So inside we have a bit of a mess here. We have a very smashed Funto watercolor pocket set. We also have a shipping label that reads Funto Pocket Watercolor Set, Travel Artist Outdoor Sketch Watercolor Kits with 2 foldable watercolor palettes, portable, with unknown binding, and then this, which I believe was the sticker on the mailer. This exterior package has certainly seen better days, but that could just be my own mail delivery service. So you can find them at Funto Art, Funto. This is a watercolor pocket set. And this probably looks pretty familiar. I believe this is a white labeled Martini watercolor palette, which I've actually been meaning to talk about here on the channel for a while. So I was really excited to have the opportunity to do it. We have our watercolor paint palette right here, a carabiner, a metal clip, a velvet bag, a leather pouch. We have a warranty. If you have any questions about the product, its quality and correct functioning, please contact us at support@funtoart.com. We have a QR code that will show us other styles of their palettes. And then they have helpful tips and tutorials for brushes and pencils, brushes, palettes, more palettes. It is not for children under 3 years of age, and it conforms to non-toxic ASTM D4236 and EN71, EN71-2, EN71-3. And it does have small parts, and it was made in China. So inside this fairly beaten up package, we have 2 rounded tape dots holding it closed. Inside is our velvet bag, and that's basically it. This thing is really stinking cute. We have 4 teensy mixing surfaces here, 1 slightly larger mixing surface here. We have a swatch card. If they had just, let me see if I can get the swatch card out. If they had just spray painted or something the interior of this white, we'd have a larger mixing surface. Maybe even one could consider it like a water pot here. But it's still very, very cute. We have, let me shut this. So very, if you can get it in the right orientation, very, very compact. It kind of reminds me of Superior products. Those who know, you know that watercolor watch is a lot of fun. So this is extremely compact, pocket purse size. It also has this little holster. I would say it's leatherette rather than leather, but quite well made. It has a keychain on the back. I thought it was going to have like a belt loop. I guess I'm that dorky. It also has a carabiner. I'm going to say it wrong every single time. I'm sure I'm going to annoy some people. Ah, well. And all in all, it's a very cute, compact little set. It also comes with a clip, I think, to probably clip your book open or whatever you are using this in. So the plan so far today is we're going to start out by swatching this little 9-color set and maybe even doing a little bit of color mixing. And I want to get accurate swatches for these colors, which, if you're curious, the colors in this set are yellow light, oriental orange, permanent red, quinacridone rose, lilac purple, cobalt blue, ultramarine. That's supposed to be phthaleiocyanine, but they put an I in where the L should be, so I'm actually not really sure. It's very misspelled. Phthaleiocyanine and Payne's gray. So seems like a promising color selection. I look forward to seeing how these tiny little colors swatch. Kind of weirdly, even though I pre-activated these watercolors, some of the colors struggled to activate. There's also a weird grittiness to like the quinacridone rose, but also a lack of granulation that I'm seeing in these swatches to the cobalt blue and the ultramarine. The phthaleiocyanine green is also pretty weak considering what color it's supposed to represent. So I want to do some swatches on a cotton rag paper. I think this will do the trick. It is 100% cotton. It is Baohang watercolor paper, and it is block bound. While we wait for these watercolors to dry, why don't we check out Funto Art online? Here is their website. They have a lot of stuff that I think might look pretty familiar to you guys, but it might be a little bit more accessible through this website. I'm seeing a lot of stuff that I recognize from AliExpress, but kind of repackaged differently or maybe made a little bit more accessible. So we're gonna head over to shop now. And you can see the adorable little palette. Actually, that looks a lot like Lindsay's thumbnail, but I might be misremembering it. Ours did not come in the cute little green box that you guys see there, but otherwise pretty much the same thing. So I believe the set I have is set A or standard A. So that's the set that comes with the cute little hip holster thing. And it also comes with the velvet bag. So the set I have is $27.99, but if you just want the palette, it's $19.99. And then set B comes with a brush. I believe set A does not. It just comes with the carbiner and the clip. And actually, they sent me to a Shopify link with my options to pick from. So it was basically essential and set A, and I think also advanced, but I didn't feel like I really needed all of the things that came with the advanced set. It's a pretty cute little watercolor here with the watercolor kit here with the premium. You have a watercolor journal We have several water brushes. We have a holster for the water brushes. We have a terry cloth wristband so you can wipe off your water brushes on the go. Not actually sure what this is. It might be a pencil. We've got our little green leatherette case. So we're going to head over to Standard A. Compact and professional. Our mini watercolor set is incredibly compact, smaller than a credit card, yet it expands into a full palette with 9 colors and 5 mixing areas. So I guess they're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Okay. Perfect for creating beautiful paintings on the go. Ultra portable at only 2.4 by 2.4 inches, this palette easily slips into a pocket or bag, perfect for travel, sketching, and capturing moments wherever you are. Secure metal clip. The included metal clip keeps the palette securely attached to your sketchbook, providing convenience for this metal clip. Okay. For outdoor activities like hiking or cycling. Maybe they did actually mean the carabiner. Durable design, made with robust materials and a fine leather cover. I think it's pleather, y'all. This palette is waterproof and oil resistant, ensuring long-lasting use. Ideal artistic gift. More than just a set, it's a portable art studio in your pocket. That's a bit of a tall claim. Ideal for art enthusiasts who love adventure. A thoughtful gift for birthdays, graduations, or any occasion. It's made to accompany artists on their creative travels. And then this kind of breaks down what's in all of the different kits. And then down here we have some related products. And this, we're going to talk about this a little bit more in a second. This is pretty much the Martini mini watercolor palette. I think it's just being white labeled. Funto may also be sometimes Chinese companies will kind of band together to sell to a Western market. So I'm kind of wondering if perhaps that is what Funto is doing. And I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with it. The price is pretty reasonable. It's pretty accessible. And you already have companies like Arteza buying Chinese watercolors or Chinese art supplies and then reselling them under their own brand name. My only problem with white labeling is when the product costs a lot more than, the competition or what it should be given the quality. So here we see a superior watercolor set. We've actually, I think, talked about this particular one in the past. Something else I like that they had, this wasn't available for me to try out, but I've been eyeing these on AliExpress for a while, are these really cool little binder watercolor sets. And this is about what it costs on AliExpress. This is actually why I haven't bought it yet, because it's a little bit expensive. And these are just neat. They're made of acrylic. They fit literally into a binder so you can use it like an easel. The ones I've been looking at didn't necessarily come with cups. I think they're including the cups to make it a little bit more feasible for a Western audience. In fact, a lot of the ones I've looked at didn't even have paint in them. So I would be kind of curious what paint they have in them. But in general, I think this is just a really neat little idea. And it's definitely something that I would be interested in trying. So here's some of their watercolor offerings. This also looks very familiar. It looks like another superior watercolor set. This looks like a semi-art set that I've seen around. This is what we're talking about today. This we've talked about in the past, or it was very similar to this. This is another really cute one. It's like a micro mini watercolor set. And it's just so it's basically like a locket that's been retrofitted with a cut acrylic insert. So very, very, very cute. And that is it for their watercolor stuff. And here's the listing on AliExpress. I told you it looked familiar. And you can see the Martini branding down here. And then these are the colors and the pigment information. Well, not the pigment, I lied. The Light Fast information and the transparency information. So lemon yellow is transparent with 4 stars. Oriental orange is opaque with 4 stars. Permanent red is semi-opaque with semi-opaque with 5 stars. Deep cadmium red hue is semi-opaque with 4 stars. Lilac purple is opaque. Yeah, opaque. I have to double check myself. Opaque with 3 stars. Cobalt blue is transparent with 5 stars. Ultramarine is transparent with 5 stars. And see, it's spelled or misspelled the same way. Phthaleiocyanine green. Maybe that's how it is spelled in China. Y'all let me know. Phthaleiocyanine green is transparent with 5 stars. And then Payne's gray is semi-opaque and 5 stars. And then you also have the option for the red palette as well. And this is what I mean by, like, I don't mind people white labeling things if it's fairly competitive. So on AliExpress, they want $15.56. That's not too bad. And this is the Martini Travel Watercolor Paint Set, 9-color mini portable palette, solid watercolor paint, sketching, and painting supplies. And then you guys can see they're also selling it on Amazon. This looks like the set A, so the $24.99 set that comes with the little green pleather backpack. You can also apply a coupon. They do have some artist bundles that includes watercolor paper, you know, to make it a little bit more like a true travel palette on the go, or a true travel studio on the go. So the listing is a little bit different from what was on their site, so I'm going to read that as well. Compact yet comprehensive, our mini watercolor set is actually smaller than a credit card, yet it transforms into a complete professional quality watercolor palette in seconds, including 9 colors with 2 foldable palettes that provide a total of 5 mixing areas, encompassing nearly everything you need to create stunning watercolor paintings anytime, anywhere. That's pretty much the only difference. It was worded just slightly differently. So you do have the option to order it from the Funto site, or you can order it on Amazon. We believe making art is an activity that can be enjoyed by anyone, anytime, anywhere. It's about the pure joy of creation. Our art supplies are designed to be exquisite and portable, allowing you to set up and start painting in a matter of moments. Whether you're in the heart of a bustling city, the tranquility of a countryside meadow, or the comfort of your own home, Funto is there with you, ready to create. And then there is our little set with all of its, and see, this shows it empty. So it actually has decently deep little wells for a travel palette this size. Then it also shows some options for how you can clip it in. So you would be sacrificing one of your mixing surfaces to clip it to your palette. I mean, this leaves you with more room. I probably wouldn't clip it to my sketchbook. I would probably just, you know, try to find a place to like sit down and work. And see, I was thinking they were going to suggest that we use this as like a, because it's actually kind of deep, as our water, and you can refill it once it's emptied out. I would not agree though that this is really for kids, even though it says age range is kid. I wouldn't necessarily, I mean, well, it depends, I guess, on how we're defining kid. If we're talking like 5 to 10, I don't really know so much about that. 10 and up though, maybe so, with supervision. All right, so now let's use our teeny tiny little mixing surfaces and do a little bit of color mixing. And I am looking to create secondary colors. So I'm going to take our primaries and mix some secondary colors. And this is going to be real quick because we only have 9 to work with. So even though we have an orange, I wanted to mix up an orange, and we were able to mix a nice vibrant orange. Of course, we do have to see how the colors settle out. We have, let's see, let's do a couple of, we have actually 2 reds. So I'm going to mix a couple of different blues. We're going to do, actually probably 4 blues. We're going to do or purples, sorry, all over the place today. We are going to try to grab some of our cobalt blue. These dry out fast, and then they're a little challenging to reactivate. So we're actually able to get kind of a nice muted red violet kind of color there. And I would really recommend, if you're working with mixing surfaces this size, miniatures, like smaller paintings would really be the better way to go. So you know that Hana, oh no, y'all don't yet know. My order of operations is going to be all mixed up. I have a Hanamula review coming up. Ooh, that's actually a really nice kind of blueberry color with the permanent red and the ultramarine. Now let's take what they called Quin Rose. I don't think it is though. I kind of believe the AliExpress Martini listings. And we're able to get a really nice purple here. Well, more like a violet, but you know. Adding a little more blue. We can get it a little more on the purple end of the spectrum. And then we can get, that's with a lot of blue actually. Some really nice purples, and we'll see how they dry and how much they desaturate as they dry. Now we're going to mix some greens. Start with our cobalt blue. And we're looking, even though they included a phthaleiocyanine green, we're looking for fresh spring greens would be what I would want from our cooler blue. This is a little bit warm, but I actually think it's really pretty. These kind of greens are some of my favorite greens, even though on me they are unflattering colors. And this is a rather warm yellow too, so I don't know how many cooler greens we would even be able to mix with something like this. And then that is with our ultramarine blue. Clean this. I am surprised we don't have any browns, any yellow ochres, any burnt siennas. We do have Payne's gray, which is typically a mix of an ultramarine blue with a sienna. And while I do prefer a Payne's gray over black, this one looks more like it's a black than an actual Payne's gray. So see, here's kind of the problem. We have a cobalt blue is kind of a warmer blue to me. It is closer to ultramarine than it is to a phthalo blue. I do kind of wish they had subbed this out for a phthalo blue, and then we could have mixed those really bright poppy sort of greens. Let's see if I can get that kind of color though. Maybe I can. Maybe I can use their green. That's a little bit better. It's a little brighter. My worry though is we wouldn't be able to get it as saturated as we might want to be able to get it. So I am not, you know what? I'm debating whether I want to do a wet into wet test, because these are not really, this is a pocket set. It's not really meant for these larger, more elaborate watercolor paintings, right? It's meant more for like watercolor sketches. So doing a wet into wet test would probably reveal some flaws, some optical brighteners, some strange granulation, that sort of thing. But if you were using it in its intended use case, would that even be a problem? So what I think I'm going to do instead is we're going to clean this off, and I think we're going to actually do a little field test. We're going to do a little painting. I'm going to grab some watercolor paper. I haven't yet decided what kind yet. I have these really cute little watercolor stamp looking things that I got from AliExpress a while back that I haven't really used. Maybe this is a good opportunity for that. Maybe paint some little mini flowers. Now, I have reviewed a lot of Martini, not a lot, but a good number of Martini products on the channel in the past. So if you are intrigued and you want to learn more about that brand, I'll try to remember to link those in the description for you guys if you guys are curious. It's actually a brand that's kind of hard to get a hold of in the US. Historically, AliExpress has been the best source, and even then it's hit or miss. It does not seem to me to be as popular as like Paul Rubens. So I'm kind of excited that Funto is going to be selling some of these products. I hope they bring over more Martini products because they do have some interesting formats that I think are a lot of fun. And I think bringing some of these products over and making them a little bit more accessible, China has some really cool art supply products. So seeing more of them enter the US market is kind of exciting for me. These are the mini stamp watercolor paper things. I got these on AliExpress a while back. I kind of think they are probably Baohang Academy, maybe something a little thicker. They're very stiff and they're just so cute. I really just could not resist. And I know you're probably surprised that it took me so long to use them. And that's because I also have a problem with worrying about ruining things by using them. But it, you know, it doesn't, you're not going to ruin it. Even if it's not your favorite thing that you ever painted or ever drew, using it is better than it going to waste. Despite not having any good neutrals, I think I'm going to start with something that I think is kind of fun. I'm going to start by painting some wildflowers, and I'm going to start with echinacea. And we'll, you know, I'm going to keep it really loose and small, not really overcomplicate things, which I know is not usually my MO. I get you. I see that. Let's start with a little bit of orange. And I don't have any neutrals, as I keep saying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of this green and kind of dab it in at the bottom and get a little bit of wet into wet. I'm even kind of hoping to get a little bit of the actual green if possible. We'll see. And then I'm debating whether or not I want to let it dry, whether I want to mix our lilac purple with a little bit of quin rose. These are more muted than I would like. There is a lot of filler in these. I would recommend, if you get these, once you've used up the paint, fill it with something nice that you like. I'm just trying to keep it. Ooh, oh well, who cares? Really simple. Now, for those of you who want to paint more and you work a day job, you work outside the house, right? You're a teacher, you're a lawyer, you are a programmer, and you do, maybe you work in tech support and you do have free time. Like I know teachers having free time. What a joke. My mom was a teacher for a million years, I know. But space time, whatever, like you're waiting on something. This could be a really fun little set to just kind of discreetly keep on your person or at your desk. And you could just knock out something like this. Takes less than 5 minutes and just let it dry. Simple art is still art. Simple art is still good. Not everything has to be this overcomplicated, super rendered illustration. Some things can just be some colorful, joyful little echinacea. Now, how I want to do the stems, that is a good question. Maybe we'll try mixing a brown using our yellow and our green. And you don't have to do this on the super tiny stamp paper either. You could use bookmark paper, pre-cut bookmarks. You could use rounds. You could do this in a tiny watercolor sketchbook. There we go. It's kind of cute. I kind of like it. And I'm trying to keep the motion going. There we go. I think that's kind of cute. So do I want to attempt? Do I want to possibly overcomplicate and overfuss things? Grab a little more of our pink. Yeah, this dried really quick. Like, let's say you're a dog walker and every day you bring your dogs to the park. You could bring something like this with you and paint the dog run while they're getting some of their energy out. All right, I'm going to set this aside. Here is the larger one. So I'm going to paint. Actually, I'm going to do it the other way around. So I have a reference image of these wildflowers, and they are red and yellow and blue. And they're kind of like fall wildflowers. So we're going to start by painting the centers just like we did before. And these are not, I'm going to reiterate this because I need to be honest with you guys. That's one of my first priorities. These are not like the best paints I've ever painted with. I wish they hadn't called themselves professional grade, because they're not. They're maybe a student grade. They're fun. I think the price point is decent as well for what you get and for the quality and also the reusability of the palette. It'd be very easy to retrofit these with something else. But these are not professional grade paints. And if you check the Amazon reviews, they'll say the exact same thing. So it's not a secret either. But I do think they're fun. I do think they have their place. Maybe they should be selling these as, then I'm painting like little V's. 2 sets, like you get 2, and then it could be a good like parent and teen activity to go out and paint things, or like a date activity. These I did not do as well with, but you know what? I'm going to embrace the spirit of spontaneity, making mistakes, doing things wrong, trial and error, and just paint, right? Making art a habit means sometimes you paint stuff that isn't so great, and that's okay. I may be working with a too large brush. I may be trying to fill the area too fast. You know, there's a bunch of reasons. I may just not be trusting the process. I may just need to let these dry and then give them another pass. It's also a lightweight set that isn't going to ping TSA. I do like the additional mixing surfaces as well. As you guys can see, I am actually using them. I do think this would be good for, I'm doing this at a desk, right? But I do think this would be good for travel, plein air, vacation, very compact, that kind of thing. So theoretically, you want to go out to the national parks, right? And maybe get some field sketching in during wildflower season. This could be a decent little set to bring with you. I'm going to mix a little bit of yellow with green and do some of the yellow pom-pom flowers that I'm seeing in the background. And I'm just kind of using the photo as like a reference to understand how the flower shapes work, but I'm not painting it specific to those flowers. I kind of like it. And then we have, the reason I chose this is we also have this blue. This gives me an opportunity. I wish I had somewhere to chuck these when they're done. We have it, and you could do your premixes and let them dry, like the colors you use all the time, and let them dry on the side. Don't know what these flowers are actually. They almost look like lavender, but they could be something else. It's clearly not Louisiana wildflowers, so I don't recognize them. Like, is it the best looking thing? I don't know, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying doing it, spending the time looking at the flowers, being mindful and observing things. I'm enjoying that. Okay, cute. Do need to go back though and tighten up some of those details. You guys can see as it dried, some of these things did get a little bit lost. So what I might do is grabbed a little much of that. So you definitely want a clean water source. I do not know if I would recommend this for water brush people. I'm not a water brush person, so, you know, it's just harder for me to tell. Blades of grass, give this all a chance to dry, because I actually do think I want to go back in, tighten some of them up. This looks like something Kara would have in her house. Yeah, I'm liking that. Kind of digging it. Painting flowers is just so relaxing and meditative. And even though these don't look much like the reference, because I'm just using it as a guide, I'm not married to it. I am glad I'm using a reference. I think these are just so joyful, very sweet, kind of cute. I think we do need little moments of joy, right? To keep us, to sustain us, to give us hope, to help us get through hard times. And I think art, at least for me, art is a wonderful way to slow things down, to have these moments of hope. Because I don't know if you know this about me, but not only do I have ADHD, but I really do struggle with depression and anxiety. And painting, drawing, making things lets me connect with the world. It lets me sometimes connect with other people. And I mean, that's what drew me into it even as a child, was being able to kind of forge these relationships and these connections. I grabbed an orange and I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with it. You know, I use art to communicate because often I'm not really very well understood, and you know how it is on the internet sometimes. People can be very quick with the least charitable take they possibly could take. So I'm sure I'm guilty of that too. But art, I think, at least allows me to slow time down a little bit and hopefully present a side of myself that is more gentle and kinder, not so sharp-tongued all the time. Shows that I do care about the world around me. I am invested in the future. I mean, why would anybody spend 7 years recording art tutorials on the internet and not making any money off of it, really, if they were not invested in the future, right? Some of these stems have kind of, yes, that's kind of what I'm going for. It's like a green and a, so these seem to layer okay so far. And then I want to add a little bit of green back at the bottom of our yellow flowers. I think the biggest problem I'm currently having is with water control with my brush, which is a silver black velvet, has nothing really to do with these paints. And I mean, the thing is, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're not, I don't know if you guys know, I'm not a gallery artist, I'm a comic artist. So this does not have to be gallery worthy. It just has to be something you enjoy spending time doing. And if you put the time in and enjoy what you're doing and learn to enjoy the process and try new things and experiment, you will get better. It may be slow, and there are ways you can speed that up, but you will get better. Maybe I'll do a few, I don't know. I'm not looking to overcomplicate, but I'm also, there's some like white negative space. That's my problem. I always want to overcomplicate everything. Go back. Not every one of them, but maybe a few. And it becomes really relaxing and meditative. Yeah, all right. Kind of like that too. It turned out kind of cute. So far we have 2 kind of cute little watercolor. Are they perfect? No. Are these professional grade? No. Are they fun? Yes. Am I this is so cute. Am I enjoying myself? Obviously. And that even extends to me deciding to talk through this with you guys. It's kind of a privilege I haven't had in a while, mostly because ever since moving back to Louisiana, Joseph and I both work from home. And while he really doesn't care if I'm talking to myself in the camera, I get kind of self-conscious. So, you know, this is kind of a rare treat for me. I found these really cute little, or a reference photo of these really cute little purple asters. So I'm going to try to do them justice. I should be using, I think, a synthetic brush, something a little more snappy. But this is what I grabbed. I saw in the reviews people talking about buying the set because they were looking for something, they want to paint more and they were looking for something more discreet. And I know, man, I used to have no problem drawing and painting out in like the regular world. And to an extent, I still don't, but man, people do make it weird sometimes. I don't mind people coming up and asking me questions, but like people will say like awful things like, do you even make money like that? Or can you talk my kid out of going into art? Or, you know, like really just like, kind of things. It's kind of fun because it's really just loose brush strokes. I'm trying not to touch into the orange too much in case we lose a lot of the orange from blending. But I do want it sometimes. Yeah, adding more movement to the brush strokes is definitely the better way to go. Even if it looks a little messy, it adds like this playful liveliness that works. Let me tell you, if you ever ask me to talk your kid into giving up art, I'm going to actually do the exact opposite. So don't you do that to me. Yeah, these are kind of fun. And I'm just going to add a few around. Oh, I kind of like the movement going on up there, and then don't want to lose it. I mean, basically we pick our center point and then we radiate our brush strokes out from there. Really pretty simple. Now I need a kind of a sagey kind of green, a muted kind of green. See if I can get that from this. Looks like it. I don't love how I handled the greenery, but you know, that's okay. Now that I'm kind of getting into it, I do actually like it better. Maybe I can get some that looks like background greenery by going a little more blue. These do dry more muted though. You really do need to keep that in mind. If you're looking for watercolors with like a punch of color, the oranges and the yellows are a little bit more, but mixes do start to fall apart a little bit. But I do really think this is a really good set for like covert art or just, you know, discreet. Like if you need to doodle during a meeting, maybe you can get away with this. It depends, you know, on your boss. All right, I kind of like that one too. I found this really great reference with all these really pretty different colors of flowers. So I'm gonna attempt, see what I can do, you know, let the brush kind of play, try to capture the petals, try not to overwork it. We'll see. You know, I do think sometimes people think I talk this way from like a lack of self-confidence, but I mean, really, this is play. I'm playing around, I'm testing these out. I made some I liked, I made some that I wasn't super hot on in this moment. Maybe my opinion will change later on. You know, that can happen. But I think for an artist to grow, you have to, and this one's real messy looking. This one's a really needs some help case. Anyway, you gotta like mess up, you gotta take chances, you gotta also be able to reflect on what did and didn't work. And sometimes things don't work. And it doesn't mean that I don't like my art as an artist. It just means I did a good one and then I did a less good one. And sometimes you'll knock it out of the park, and sometimes you won't even walk. And that yellow, a little bit of orange, none in there. Okay, I'm also seeing this like really nice cornflower blue thing going on. One of the reasons I like painting wildflowers when I want like a more loose and less structured kind of thing is because they're very forgiving. They're really spontaneous. It takes a lot to like really irrevocably. Woo, the stutter coming out strong today. It just takes a lot to like really botch wildflowers. And I love flowers. I like botany. I'm terrible at growing things, but I enjoy looking at them and thinking I could grow them. And flowers and tiny people are kind of like my happy spot. Also, like, they're just so cheerful. It's all these like little pops of really bright, brilliant color. They come in a bunch of different shapes, but they also kind of follow a similar form. So like, if you got good water control and you are not working with an overly floppy brush like I am today, you know, with a little practice, it can be really easy to do. And we have this Payne's Gray. And I do actually want to introduce it as my white. So I'm going to add, because the reference I'm looking at has all these little white flowers, little daisies with yellow centers. And those are going to take a little bit of time to dry. So I'm going to give them a chance, and then I'm going to come back and use a little bit of Payne's Gray to hopefully indicate petal. All right, I'm going to attempt this. We'll see how this goes. I'm impatient. That's part of my problem. I also want to add just a smidgen of ultramarine blue, and I don't want it too dark. And water control is going to be really important. And what I'm actually kind of doing or attempting to do is to paint the shadows on the leaves. Although this is so light, it might be better just to like paint it as leaves. Got a little yellow in there. Doesn't really matter. I like seeing those kind of like, I wouldn't even call it a happy accident because it's not really accidental, but that kind of wild wet into wet blending. And then there's also these like little bunches like there. Maybe help break things up a little bit, and maybe like, a little bit over here. Little over here, just to kind of keep a rhythm going. Did it again. That's okay. A big part of making art is actually about having fun and enjoying yourself. It's the kind of thing that AI will never really be able to replicate. Not really. The joy of creation, the joy of discovery, the joy of making something yourself. So even if it's not the best, even if it doesn't look like your favorite influencer, your favorite artist, whatever, like, enjoy making things and creating things. Okay, I'm gonna go for like kind of a bright poppy yellowy green. I'm seeing a lot of like really cute kind of, it almost looks like dill or like fennel kind of greenery, right? Really feathery and light. Really light brush strokes. Some slightly larger leaves, especially as we go up. And I may also want to mix in like a little more blue maybe to just kind of get some color variation. Or some yellow even at the top. Let's go with the yellow first. It's easier to mix darker than it is to mix lighter. And again, while these like little stamp punches are so stinking cute, you don't have to do it on this. You could do it on bookmarks. You can do it on just postcards, like any shape you have, any scrap paper you might like to use would probably work really well for something like this. And really, I should be doing more of this little darker green down here at the bottom and just kind of ground this a little bit. You can do it however you want, but I want to just add some of that darker green at the bottom. Actually, I love how those little daisies turned out. I love where the yellow kind of blended in. It looks really fresh. You know what we can do? We're not married to doing it one particular way. We can have some green overlap some of our plants and flowers to give us a little more depth. Have some little leaves. We can go back to the yellow even. That'll give kind of the impression that the sun is hitting some of this. And then I can go back with just a little bit of orange and a little bit of the yellow. And just kind of add that right back in there. And then a little bit of our Payne's gray to the center of these red flowers. And I think we are just about done. We did a lot of painting today. So let's talk about the pros and cons of the Funto Art Travel Watercolor Palette. I love this thing's super compact size. I mean, it is tiny. It also has a decent color selection for sketching and watercolor doodling, like you guys see here. The paints can be pried out and replaced with your favorite paints. I'm going to reiterate that. The paints can be pried out and replaced with your favorite paints. You can spray paint the interior lid or use duct tape to make it a mixing surface, or you could use this as a small wash cup. And it sits stable on a desk. And I gotta be real with you guys, I have bought a lot of mini watercolor kits that don't do that or cannot do that. So what about the cons? The paint colors are weak and dry, kind of dull. The paints kind of fall apart when there's a lot of water, like you can really see that with the rose that I did over here. So they work better with strong saturation and limited color mixes. And the quin rose is awful. It granulates in a really weird and muddy way, and it mixes really poorly. And there's one more pro I forgot to mention. You can actually get this on Amazon. You do not have to get it from AliExpress. You can get it from Funto Art through their Amazon shop or their dedicated shop. And it's pretty competitively priced with the AliExpress listing. In fact, I would say that if you take shipping into account, it's basically going to even out. So who do I think this little palette is for? I think this is perfect for watercolor sketching on the go, like urban sketching, plein air sketching, but my ideal audience for this is clandestine painters, people who need a little art break during lunch, who work in classrooms or desk jobs and want to scratch that art fix discreetly. This set is absolutely perfect for that. It's really best for small sketches with vibrant color, something quick and immediate. The limited mixing space is probably for the best, as colors don't stay saturated when mixed and generally dry less saturated than the sum of the parts, and washes are uninspired. So if you work a desk job, if you have kind of like a little workspace, a work cubby, a cubicle, a classroom, and you want to bring a little bit of art into your life in a really low pressure, easy and discreet way, that can pack up very compactly and stow in a pocket, purse, or backpack, I think the Funto Art watercolor kit might be the way to go. Once again, a big thank you to Funto Art for sending me this palette and letting me take a look at it. You can find links, including affiliate links, down in the description below, but honestly, I don't really care who you buy it from, if you choose to buy it, or if you don't, because to be really blunt, I don't really see a lot of money from the affiliate links. Anyway, It's mostly just there for your convenience. So make sure you check out the description for show notes, links, and other resources, including links to other Martini watercolors. I did notice a little bit of staining on the mixing surfaces of this palette, so that is something to keep an eye out for.